Hey guys, so I'm just going to talk through what you need to do for your proposal. So the first thing you need to do in your proposal is come up with a key question. So what is it that you want to actually look at? Now, remember when you're writing a proposal, you need to write it in future tense and pretend that we actually haven't done the experiment yet. I know that we have, but the purpose of a proposal is to send out to people to actually fund your study. So you need to write it like it's so important and it hasn't been done yet, but here's why I want to do it and here's what's going to happen when I do it. So what's the key question you want to find out? So I put an example in here. Does the central route of persuasion have greater effect on attention levels than the peripheral route of persuasion in advertising? So it's just a question. Then a brief definition of any terms you're using. So you might want to include any terms that you think are relevant. So we're studying memory. Sorry, are there any terms you want to define for the readers to make sure they understand what you're going to be discussing? The next thing is the purpose of the investigation. Now, that sounds like the key question, but it's not framed in a question. So, what is the purpose? Why are we doing this? What's the bigger picture here? The next thing is design type. So we've got three design types: experimental, quantitative, observational, or qualitative, just written here. Now, if you're not sure about these, check your textbook, but I also talked about them in the last video and how they would work in this investigation. The next thing you need to do is identify the independent and dependent variables. So your independent variable is the thing that's being changed or manipulated in the experiment. So when we did the caffeine investigation last semester, the thing that was manipulated or changed was the amount of coffee people consumed. So that would be the independent variable. The dependent variable is what's being tested. It's the thing that's stable for everyone. So the dependent variable in the caffeine investigation would be the reaction time test. Brief method is just exactly what is going to happen when the study happens. So exactly, you have to do it very, very briefly, but just a couple of lines about what is going to take place in the study. What data is going to be collected? So for this, you've got three different options: subjective quantitative, objective quantitative, and qualitative. So just if you don't remember those terms, check your textbook as well or go back on sector. With your hypothesis, you don't need to use this structure that I wrote, but for people that struggle with writing hypotheses, it's a good template to use to just get it quite nice and brief, but please feel free to write your own if you don't like this template. All right, so participants who drank full strength coffee will score higher on the reaction time test compared with participants who consumed decaf coffee. So you need to make sure you're saying both the groups, so the independent variable, both the groups, and the dependent variable, which is what you're testing them on. Then you need to provide a brief reason for your hypothesis. So why is it that you're studying this? Why did you choose to do this? The next thing you're going to look at is what data will be used to test the hypothesis. So if you're going to be calculating your scores into the mean, then you need to mention that. So the mean reaction time test scores will be compared to determine whether the hypothesis is supported or refuted. So that is you could use median. If you're using a qualitative data, investigation design and data, you don't want to be talking about the mean because you're not going to be calculating that at all. What do you expect the data to look like? Then you'd write, it is expected that the mean reaction time score of participants who viewed the central route advertisements, or if we're talking about caffeine, who drank full strength coffee will be higher than those who viewed the peripheral route or those who drank decaf coffee. So you're basically just turning your hypothesis back into a nice sentence. Now, this is really important. You need to not use any first person language or second person language in your report at all. So that means no I, us, me, we, our, or your. Don't use your. That's second person and that's very unprofessional in a psych report. You need to always say the participants, the experimenter, the whatever it is. Please use spell check. Make sure everything is spelt correctly and check your textbook if you're not sure with some of the psych terms. All right, guys, good luck, and I will see you Monday.